Debuting in 1961 as a one-off television character, Walt Disney's Ludwig Von Drake, the first Disney character created for TV, was a breakout success, quickly becoming a regular character on Walt's anthology series and appearing in a swarm of extended media and merchandise. Over the years, Ludwig has seen a healthy handful of appearances and remains a beloved member of the extended Disney character lexicon. To celebrate over 60 years of the kooky professor, I'll trace his entire evolution from 1961 to now, covering his inception and touching on his many appearances and changes over the years. In this edition of Cartoon Evolutions Explaining Disney. In the middle 1950s, Walt Disney became the first major Hollywood producer to embrace the burgeoning medium of television. Seen as a less popular alternative to film and stage, television traditionally drew smaller, less accomplished producers and talent. However, in the medium, Walt found a fantastic tool for advertising and commercial gain, forming a partnership with the ABC network to air a series titled Disneyland, which helped him finance his in-construction Disneyland theme park by way of sponsors, and doubled as a terrific piece of weekly promotion for it. Initially, the show, hosted by Walt himself, gave audiences a glimpse into the behind-the-scenes of the upcoming park and his in-production feature films, but soon grew into an anthology series showcasing educational segments focused on art, nature, history, science, and technology, while also presenting classic Disney cartoons and features alongside exclusive live-action serials and segments. Despite airing in black and white, much of Disneyland was actually shot in colour. Walt, ever the forward thinker, knew that television would eventually shift to colour transmission and saw it as an essential way to future-proof his productions at a time that no other producer saw the need. ABC, however, were reluctant to dive into colour, and following a brutal legal battle between the network and Disney 4 years into their partnership, Walt cut ties and approached NBC with the desire to bring the anthology series to their airwaves, in colour. Owned by RCA, a major manufacturer of colour TVs, NBC were heavily pushing the technology and championing colour productions. Naturally, they were the perfect collaborator for Walt. Likewise, Walt was the perfect producer to headline a flagship colour series for them. In 1958, with the theme park now open for 3 years, Disneyland no longer needed to be the focus of the series, so it was renamed Walt Disney Presents. With the network switch in 1961, however, the series now had a new focus, the advent of colour. As such, the anthology series, as it's often referred, changed its name again to Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Colour. To introduce the series' newest exciting dimension, Walt insisted on an educational episode that could explain the concept of colour and how colour TV works. But in true Walt style, he wanted to do it in the most elaborate and vivacious way possible, via the art of animation. Traditionally, limited animation was used for television as it was more cost and time effective. With the introduction of the Xerox process on 101 Dalmatians, which allowed artist sketches to be transferred directly onto cells with a Xerox camera, the process became even easier. However, Walt didn't want to present one of his iconic flagship characters like Mickey, Donald, or Goofy in TV animation, feeling that they would be cheapened. Regardless, none of them really fit the bill anyway. They didn't have the smarts or the ability to explain the new technology to the world. As such, Walt set his artists with the laborious task of creating a brand new personality, the first ever Disney character created for TV and one of the only ever developed under Walt. With a lull in production between Dalmatians and their next feature animation, The Sword in the Stone, Walt put his best men on the job, with 7 of his 9 old men tasked with developing and animating the character: Milt Kahl, Frank Thomas, Ollie Johnson, Eric Larson, Les Clark, John Lounsbury, and Ward Kimball. The character was Ludwig Von Drake, described by Walt in his TV introduction as
a renowned scientist, lecturer, psychologist, world traveler.
Presented as a zany, eccentric, absent-minded professor, Ludwig's personality was styled after the crazy German scientists of the space age. particularly Heinz Haber and Werner von Braun. Both Haber and von Braun had been brought to America following World War II to aid in the government's rocket program, becoming instrumental in the formation of NASA. They had both worked as technical consultants, writers, and presenters on various space and science-related segments on the anthology show. Haber even helped write the 1959 theatrical short film Donald in Mathmagicland, which was presented in the second half of the Wonderful World of Color premiere. The Disney crew were well acquainted with the pair, and according to animation historian Jim Korkis, the animators reportedly took the flamboyance of von Braun and the seemingly encyclopedic knowledge of Haber to form the character. An additional inspiration came by way of comedian Sid Caesar's character, the Professor, who appeared on various TV comedy shows of the era. A master of many subjects, the character occasionally went by the names Ludwig von Spacebrain, Ludwig von Fossil, and Ludwig von Henpecked. The name Ludwig for Ludwig von Duck came from Caesar's character, as did the middle name von, though Caesar had likely taken that from Werner von Braun to begin with. The word Drake, of course, means male duck. Disney hired actor Paul Frees to voice Ludwig, utilising a German accent he had in his comedic repertoire. Adept at on-the-spot, fast-talking radio comedy, Frees was given an almost unheard-of free rein to improvise and ad-lib dialogue, giving way to long monologues of hilarious psychobabble and nonsense.
Red and yellow make orange. Blue and yellow and you got a green thumb. You should see my chrysanthemum. You should see my chrysanthemum. You should see my petunias.
Though, despite the heavy German influence, Disney grew cold feet over presenting a German character following the war. Naturally, the American public were still dubious of German scientists in particular, and for good reason. Both Haber and von Braun had been active in the Nazi effort in their homeland. Haber was a member of various Nazi organizations, while von Braun was an active member of the Nazi Party itself, influential in the development of rocket technology for Hitler's Third Reich regime. With such prominent work on both sides of the Atlantic, the pair have been described as mere opportunists. To avoid controversy, Ludwig was presented as Austrian, though the German accent was unmistakable. Ludwig was devised by writer Bill Berg while developing the episode. Berg drew rough cartoony sketches from which animators could establish a final design. Storyman Joe Rinaldi tried his hand at the character, but his design made him look like a big-domed, highbrow intellectual type. In its August 1961 issue, Rinaldi told RCA's Electronic Age, "Our original Ludwig looked too much like an egghead and not enough like a near relative of Donald Duck. I guess you'd say we shaved off some of the intellectualism, but even so, he emerges as a mighty smart cookie." The final design of the character came from master character designer Milt Kahl, who also led the animation team in bringing the character to life. Various design and model sketches for the character still survive, though it's particularly worth noting Kimball's spectacular set of zany keyframe thumbnails. Ludwig was designed as a one-shot character, and the New York Times was even instructed to advise readers the professor is not scheduled to appear on the Disney program each week, and his future in show business may depend on how well he does tonight. Disney did, however, work the character up in advertising to build audience familiarity. Walt posed alongside Ludwig in various magazines. Newspapers ran feature articles heralding the dawn of colour and Disney's new character, and Ludwig was transitioned into Al Taliaferro and Bob Karp's Donald Duck comic strip, first appearing in the September 24, 1961 strip the day the first episode aired on TV. Ludwig was an instant success. His hilarious antics were loved by audiences and critics, and his popularity was embraced by the studio, immediately preparing more episodes of Wonderful World of Color presented by him. He appeared in 3 more episodes in 1961 alone, and soon became a recurring character on the program, a spokesperson and expert on every topic imaginable, somewhat similar to Sid Caesar's character who inspired him so. Disney described him as the most sought-after lecturer in the world, and undoubtedly the outstanding genius of the century, and he appeared in close to 20 episodes between 1961 and Walt's final televised appearance in 1967. Throughout, he shared his expertise on topics such as hunting, romance, child psychology, Carnival, Spanish dancing, outer space, human behavior, crude flight, cruise liners, sports and fitness, and music. He even served as storyteller in a pair of episodes compiling classic cartoon shorts. One such appearance saw a brand new version of Mickey and the Beanstalk from the 1947 feature film Fun and Fancy Free, now presented and narrated by Ludwig. This version of the cartoon was later reissued in VHS compilations in the 1980s and 1990s. Disney also gave Ludwig a sidekick, Herman the Bootle Beetle, occasionally joining him to present segments and assist in storytelling duties. Ludwig's appearances helped ensure a regular stream of new Disney animation on TV, and made him the first new and continuing Disney character in nearly 30 years. As such, he quickly graced magazine covers and appeared on a slew of merchandise as early as late 1961, including puzzles, pencil cases, lunchboxes, salt and pepper shakers, board games, playing cards, and sticker and colouring in books. There were also action figures, including a collection of collectible Disneykins and a large-scale talking doll. In print, Ludwig enjoyed regular appearances in the Donald Duck comic strip, where he often appeared as a mad scientist and inventor, as well as in the Walt Disney Comics and Stories series. He was even given his own self-titled feature comic, which ran for 4 issues between November 1961 and June 1962. Legendary duck comic artist Carl Barks featured him only once in a one-page Uncle Scrooge comic story from 1964. Hugely popular overseas, he saw long-running appearances in the Italian and European duck comics too. He was featured in numerous Disney storybooks alongside Donald and other members of the Duck family, and appeared on several Disneyland records throughout the 1960s. His most notable LP appearance was 1961's Walt Disney Presents Professor Ludwig Von Drake, a record which featured 4 songs written by Disney music legends Robert and Richard Sherman, and a collection of legendary ad-libs by Freeze. Press at the time of Ludwig's first appearance referred to him as Donald Duck's eccentric uncle from the continental side of the family. In his second appearance, episode The Hunting Season, Ludwig was confirmed as the brother of Donald's father, with Donald taking his mother's maiden name Duck when he entered show business. Later Duck comics gave Ludwig a different lineage. One claimed he was Scrooge's brother-in-law, and another called him Grandma Duck's cousin. Meanwhile, legendary comic writer Don Rosa considered him married to Donald's mother's sister on an unpublished Duck family tree. Regardless, Ludwig appeared in numerous anthology shows alongside Donald throughout the series' run. In 1962, at the height of his popularity, Ludwig starred in a theatrically released special cartoon, A Symposium on Popular Songs, his first and only starring role in a Disney short. In the film, Ludwig takes the viewer on a journey through the history of popular music direct from his mansion. The film featured 7 new songs written by the Sherman brothers, who also wrote the screenplay, though uncredited. The film was incredibly popular and was even nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Subject in 1963, losing to John and Faith Hubley's independent film, The Holl. In 1970, Ludwig appeared on his first post-Walt episode of the anthology show, then titled The Wonderful World of Disney. In the episode Nature's Strangest Oddballs, he appeared as curator of the Museum of Unnatural History, both hosting the program and narrating live-action nature footage like that seen in Walt Disney's True Life Adventures documentary series. He also presented 2 animal-centric short cartoons. Otherwise, Ludwig remained quiet on the screen throughout the 1970s, his only other appearances being in a pair of now obscure TV commercials for Golf gasoline. In one commercial, he appears as a chemical expert talking the benefits of golf, and in another, he appears as a master car mechanic and gas station attendant, helping out Goofy with his broken down car. It would mark the first time Ludwig shared the screen with one of Disney's core characters other than Donald. In 1980, Ludwig made sporadic appearances in a handful of Disney TV specials for various networks. In these, he featured by way of recycled animation from classic appearances with new dialogue recordings. Specials included 2 anniversary shows, 1984's Donald Duck's 50th birthday and 1986's Walt Disney World's 15th anniversary celebration, and a series of 3 Valentine specials showcasing specially created music videos combining contemporary music with classic Disney cartoons, including 1986's Disney's DTV Valentine, notable as Frieza's final performance as Ludwig before his death, 1987's Disney's DTV Doggone Valentine, and 1989's Mickey's Happy Valentine special. He also hosted 1987's Down and Out with Donald Duck, a documentary look at the life of Donald Duck in the style of 60 Minutes. Additionally, Ludwig headlined his own 90-minute TV special, 1988's Ludwig's Think Tank, in which he presented a series of educational cartoons to prove that everyone can learn something, even an expert like himself. In 1987, Ludwig appeared in Disney afternoon series DuckTales. Oddly, Ludwig only featured once in this duck-centric series, which ran for a total of 100 episodes over 4 seasons. In Season 1's The Golden Fleecing, he was seen as the psychiatrist of Launchpad McQuack, convincing him that his recent run-in with a band of harpies was nothing but a hallucination due to too many external stimuli. At episode's end, however, Ludwig witnessed a harpy himself, and he too experiences a nervous breakdown. In 1988, Ludwig hosted Disney's Cartoon Arcade, a VHS video game designed for the Viewmaster Interactive Vision, considered arguably the earliest commercially sold attempt to combine video and computer game imagery for home television. Here, Ludwig introduced classic Disney cartoons and short video games, all using repurposed animation from An Adventure in Color with new narration. In the late 1980s through middle 1990s, Ludwig presented a selection of Disney sing-along songs VHS releases, which packaged classic Disney songs and presented them with on-screen lyrics. Ludwig introduced the songs, giving insight in often bumbling comedic gag sequences. The compilations were hugely popular with kids of the era, allowing Ludwig to live on in the Disney lexicon. Additionally, Ludwig co-hosted 1998's The Spirit of Mickey alongside Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Goofy, and Max Goof, a similar compilation VHS bundling a collection of the greatest classic Mickey cartoons with newly animated wraparounds. Ludwig made numerous television appearances in the 1990s as well, beginning with 1991's TV special Lifestyles of the Rich and Animated. In the same vein as the 80s specials, this one saw Ludwig hosting a mock look at the behind-the-scenes lifestyles of Mickey Mouse and friends, spotlighting some of their greatest cartoons. Here, Ludwig appeared in segments including recycled, redubbed animation. In the Disney Afternoon Block series, he appeared as a regular guest. He hosted 2 episodes of 1992's Raw Toonage, appearing as an expert in cartoon physics. One such appearance paired him with Darkwing Duck's Gosselin Mallard. In 1993's Bonkers, he appeared more regularly, once again taking up his psychiatrist role and occasionally assisting in crime solving, using both toon logic and newly invented gadgets. He also appeared in 4 episodes of 1996's Quack Pack. Again, he took on his mad scientist role, running the Duckburg Laboratory, often lending the Ducks his various inventions, gadgets, and machines for use in their wacky adventures and harebrained schemes. Into the 2000s, Ludwig starred in several Mickey Mouse Works cartoons between 1999 and 2000. These shorts were designed to throw back to the classic Disney cartoons, though placed characters in slightly modernized designs. Here, Ludwig saw his first design overhaul, albeit subtle, with thicker legs and longer feathers. Ludwig headlined a series of Von Drake's House of Genius cartoons, where he showcased a series of zany new inventions designed to make everyday life easier. In classic style, however, they all end up backfiring. He also headlined 3 regular shorts, Relaxing with Von Drake, Hydro Squirter, and Future Mania, where he tested out new, disastrous inventions alongside the classic crew of Disney characters. 2001's House of Mouse, starring Mickey as the owner of a nightclub, saw the most substantial use of Ludwig since the 1960s. Here, he appeared in a recurring role as the club's resident professor and mad scientist, often enlisted by Mickey and the gang to help solve problems and mysteries using his various contraptions. Ludwig's various Mouseworks cartoons were also repurposed to across various episodes, often introduced on stage by Ludwig himself. 2 episodes in fact focused heavily on Ludwig, the first being Ask Von Drake, which saw Mickey trying to prove that Ludwig doesn't know everything. Here, Ludwig showcases numerous cartoons, shows off his smarts, and even performs a musical number. In his second major appearance, House of Genius, Ludwig builds robotic versions of the Disney crew to run the club, with disastrous results, likewise also showcasing some MouseWorks shorts. Ludwig also appeared in the 2001 direct-to-video House of Mouse film Mickey's Magical Christmas, snowed in at the House of Mouse, this time presenting a brand new Christmas-themed cartoon, The Science of Santa. The cartoon, which saw Ludwig explaining the science behind Santa's single-night global travel, was also repurposed in the 2002 episode Pete's Christmas Caper. In the early 2000s, Ludwig appeared in 3D for the very first time, in a series of video games through which he could be controlled as a playable character. 2000's Racer, Mickey's Speedway USA, 2001 3D adventure game Mickey Saves the Day, and 2002 golfing game Disney Golf. In Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, beginning in 2006, Ludwig finally appeared in his 3D form in an animated production. This series presented Professor Ludwig as the inventor of Mickey's magical clubhouse and all its gadgets and accessories. Ludwig was a regularly recurring character throughout its run until 2016, as per usual, often engaged to help out with his many inventions. While many of them do backfire, in true style, many of them do help Mickey and the gang save the day. This was the first series in which Ludwig had major extended appearances alongside the core lexicon of classic Disney characters. He also appeared in several direct-to-video Clubhouse movies and extended TV specials. In 2008, Ludwig appeared in a promo spot for a Disney Parks Google Maps collaboration, where he introduces cutting-edge technology that could allow users to tour Walt Disney World virtually. Ludwig was featured again in his original design in brand new animation. In 2012, Ludwig became a meetable mascot character at Disney Parks for the very first time, though he had appeared briefly in celebrations and parades in the middle 80s and early 90s. He can still be met intermittently at parks today. In 2014, Disney launched Mickey Mouse, a new series of classically inspired Disney cartoons, in contemporary stylized angular designs. Ludwig appeared in a handful of episodes in this new design, now depicted as a crazed Jules Verne's-esque scientist. Appearing in numerous episodes, he is seen teaming up with a Martian robot in a 3-legged race, as a museum tour guide, a deep-sea explorer taking Mickey, Donald and Goofy on an underwater journey, and a mad scientist performing a lab experiment on Donald. He also appeared in 20-minute Christmas special Duck the Halls, alongside the Duck family, where he appears on screen with Uncle Scrooge for the very first time. Additionally, he appeared in a single 2020 episode of Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, the follow-up spin-off series created for Disney+. In House of Tomorrow, Ludwig introduces Mickey, Donald and Goofy to a house of the future, filled with technological inventions and AI implementations that naturally result in disaster. In 2017, the latest CG animated Disney series Mickey and the Roadster Racers launched. Here, Ludwig played another substantial role as the resident professor, scientist and mechanic of Mickey's garage. With a much tamer depiction like that in Clubhouse, Ludwig again assists Mickey and the crew with new inventions and mechanical ideas to help solve problems. In the second season, Ludwig notably supercharges the gang's race cars, leading to a season-wide story arc. In 2019, Roadster Racers rebranded with a new title, Mickey's Mixed Up Adventures, which it retained until its conclusion in 2021. Ludwig continued to hold his role in the series throughout. Additionally, he saw various appearances, in the same iteration, in spin-off series Chip 'n Dale's Nutty Tales between 2017 and 2019. In the DuckTales reboot series, running between 2017 and 2021, Ludwig had a recurring role, with his first appearance in 2018. Here, he was given his first substantial character overhaul. Seen not as a crazed scientist or professor, but as the director of spy agency Shush. His appearances were predominantly in 1960s flashbacks, where he works alongside super spy Uncle Scrooge. Much like the other characters in the series, Ludwig was also depicted in a modernized angular design. In the long-running Minnie's Bow Tunes, originally spun off from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in 2011, Ludwig made a pair of appearances in 2021 and 2022. He again appeared in his role as resident inventor, in one episode giving Minnie, Daisy and Clarabelle malfunctioning rocket roller skates, and in another providing them with squeak-away spray for their shopping trolley, which results in a runaway cart. In 2021's CG animated series Mickey Mouse Funhouse, Ludwig has been given a substantial recurring role. The series sees Mickey's Funhouse, Funny, whisking the gang off to otherworldly adventures in different lands. In these, Ludwig can be found in various alter egos. In the magical medieval world of Majestica, he appears as King Ludwig. In Halloweenville, he's seen as a horror-inspired mad doctor, kooky scientist Ludwig, and in comic book world, Herotropolis, he's the resident scientist, providing the heroes with many scientific inventions. In one episode, the gang head to prehistoric world, taking the kooky scientist with them, where he becomes the kooky paleontologist. Ludwig also saw two minor recent appearances. First, in 2023's Disney 100th anniversary short film Once Upon a Studio, amongst the crowd of Disney animation characters lining up for a star photo, and in an advertisement for Disney shareholders where, utilizing recycled animation, he encourages shareholders to vote in an upcoming election. Despite being somewhat of an obscure character, Ludwig's importance and influence cannot be understated. With Funhouse continuing today and Ludwig regularly appearing in the European duck cartoons, he has ensured a steady stream of appearances well into the future. And at that, I want to know your favourite appearance of Ludwig Von Drake. As always, join the conversation down below and let me know your thoughts.